Hello, welcome back to the We Are City channel, to the start of Season 2. Last year we were celebrating lots of success, weren't we, despite a defeat in the Champions League final. So this year, we're going to change things up. We're going to make it more difficult than ever. A lot of you have been asking about the sliders. Well, I'm changing the sliders, and I'll show you guys what we're going to do. So half length is 6 minutes, and the difficulty level will be Legendary. That is what we've played on anyway. We always play on Legendary. I don't know if there is a level up from Legendary, but I like to keep it on Legendary. It says they're Legendary, intended to be seasoned players who can handle intense competition and tactical gameplay. So in terms of gameplay, we usually play on Authentic. This year we're going to Custom, or this season we're going to Custom in Season 5. Now, authenticity features, that is a difficult word to get out, are on. No wind effects, because it does affect the game a little bit too much in terms of passing. So sprint speed for user and the CPU will both stay at 35. Acceleration for both the user and the CPU both stay at 46 as well. That's the most realistic I've found it to make it. But as for shot error, our shot error is at 64. The CPU is down to 42, meaning that they're going to have way more chance of scoring goals. Shot speed stays the same at 48. And then to the header error, the heading is very poor in the game. So we've got 24, theirs is 15. So again, the CPU have even more chance of scoring their headers. Pass error is up to 58 for us, whereas the CPU is down to 40. So the opposition are going to be much better passers. Like I said, this is going to be a real test this season. Pass speed is the same at 35. Head error at 60 and 50 for the CPU. It doesn't really play much of a part in the game, I don't think, the header pass error, but that's how it is. Then to injuries, frequency 95 to the CPU's 83, and our severity wise up to 33. Hopefully we should get more injuries this season, and that makes it a little bit more challenging for us this season. I mean, I know we got to finals of all the competitions. We lost the Champions League final. We want to win the Champions League this year under Vincent Kompany. A goalkeeper ability 55, and their ability is 65. So not only is our shot error higher, also the goalkeeper ability of the opposition is higher as well, making it very, very difficult to score goals compared to them who probably score their first chance on goal. In terms of marking, it's gone up, and for them it's a little bit higher. The marker's just a little bit tighter, a little bit more aggressive. The run frequency stays at 40 for both. The line height, 65, but we're dropping the CPU down to 50. We're going to be playing up against a lot of low blocks this season. No more counter-attacking football for Manchester City at times. Low blocks nearly week in, week out against the small side, which is going to be very difficult to break down. We've got to find those passes and be creative in those areas, which is not going to be very easy at all, playing against low blocks. And it's like what City do in real life. They play against low blocks week in, week out. We're going to make that happen. I don't think we played against many low blocks last season. Line length 30 to 20. The CPU, again, just playing a little bit more compact, but also then a little bit wider as well in the CPU. So defensively more compact in that low block, and offensively the wing is staying a little bit wider, makes it more difficult for you to sort of mark them with your fullbacks. And that's going to make it more difficult to defend against the CPU as well, who are going to be better than ever this season. Absolutely better than ever. Full out positioning, ours is 75, the CPU is 70. Again, ours is just a little bit higher than theirs. Power bar stays at 50. First touch control error, ours is at 80, theirs is at 66. So more chance of making that error in the first touch. It just makes the game feel so much more realistic. Intercept error, 85 to 75. Again, the CPU outdoes us there. We're going to be higher at that one. And then the ball deflection error after that, both at 90. I didn't want to change that. I think high is the better. And tackle assistance error, or user assistance anyway, 50 for us, 48 for the CPU. I wasn't sure how much that changed the game. I moved it around a little bit from the original authentic sliders, just made it a little bit better for them. So AI behaviour, because this is quite important for the AI behaviour, this is on custom. I've decided the AI behaviour. So 99 for tackle aggression. I often feel the opponents aren't aggressive enough in the challenges, so we're going to go to 99 for that one. Build-up speed up to 65, sometimes a little bit slower than usual. Take their time. Shot frequency 65, more shots on goal. Willingness to take shots from range. First touch pass frequency 70. You know, they sort of knock the ball around a lot more confidently. They don't have to take 3-4 touches on the ball before they pass it. Crossing frequency 75. They hardly ever cross in this game, so try and get them as crossing as much as possible, really. Dribbling frequency 55 as well. Sort of balanced, really. They make that decision when they want. But the big one which I bumped up is skill mill frequency 70. So even more difficult to defend because they were doing all these tricks and flicks and so on, which is so difficult to come up against. And another thing that you guys have asked about a lot in the comments is the camera options. So I actually have it on tactical. I think I've maybe told people that in the past before. Maybe I've told them wrong. I've never really checked. But camera angle is tactical. And that is what you see when you see my gameplay from the tactical camera angle, which is a little bit zoomed out more. And you can see the pitch a little bit more, which I do like. I do like to sort of see what I can do all around the field. And the camera settings are on default as well. Visual and audio, I don't think that makes any difference to you guys at all, does it? Everyone can change that, customize it however they want. It's more the camera angle and of course the sliders as well, which take us to the next level this season. We've done great work in the transfer market in terms of club building up our budget, and this year we've got about 1.2 billion euros in the budget to spend. Of course, guys, we're not going to be spending that kind of money, but that shows how good we've done in the market, selling players for big, big profits. And some of the players going into the new season that might be leaving the club, well, one is Omar El Hilali. He's been sharing that right-back role with Tino Livramento, and he's unhappy sharing that role with Tino Livramento. And one of these players has to go. And also, on what we did last season and what I experienced, I feel like the side does need to up their game in terms of a bit of more quality going forward from right back. Mate Siltonen, I think his time is probably up at the club. He's had some great loans. We're going to be able to sell him for a profit. Only 22 years of age, 2 years at Brentford on loan in the Premier League. That's worked out pretty well for the Finnish international. Seven Ipan, does he stick around at Manchester City? Does he get one more chance in the team? I think he was good last year. But I suppose these players are at a time where they feel they need to be playing more football. And one player in particular for that is Divine Mukasa, who's decided, I think, that his time at Manchester City is probably over. 82 rated now. He's into his mid-20s nearly. His time to play first-team football somewhere else is probably upon him. And then there's Vini Jr as well. If you remember, there was a report around January last season that said there was big interest from Saudi Pro League. He's been at City 2 years. And apparently Saudi are ready to pay big, big money to convince him and City to move. So we are looking at a right-back, attacking right-back. Wesley is one of those we're looking at. He's been linked with City in the past, playing at Fiorentina. AS Roma looking at bringing him back. But Wesley is currently in negotiations with a side that beat in the Champions League final, Paris Saint-Germain. They were without a right-back, weren't they, in that final after selling Hakimi to Liverpool. And it looks like they're going to win the race, and they've been putting the groundwork in pretty early for Wesley. Very expensive right back, so he's probably not a player that we're going to be able to bring in. The first transfer out of the season is Jack Wint. Our third choice goalkeeper makes a €5 million move to Swansea City, which means we're looking for a new third choice goalkeeper to come in. Obviously a homegrown English goalkeeper. Nathan Trott of Copenhagen is an option. Former City man Daniel Grimshaw is also an option as well, with Jack Wint looking for first team football elsewhere. We're looking to bring in a third choice goalkeeper, someone at the end of their career. The man who sticks out to me, actually, of those options is Brighton's Jason Steele. 67 rated, 38 years of age. So we make a move for Steele, and we agree on a deal pretty swiftly. Brighton happy to let him go for around €450,000. Now, we are going to let a lot of players leave on loan this season. Cruz Mehta is going to Betis on loan. No Fernandez is going to go to Lazio on loan. We're going to try and trim down that squad and also let some of those younger players that have been on loan for many seasons leave permanently. So Matheus Dobet goes to Sporting following Maher Carizzo's path. And Aidan Stokes is going to be moving to AZ Alkmaar. But speaking of first team players going out on loan, we've got Ram Pablo following Cavan Sullivan's path as well, going to RB Leipzig. And the first game of pre-season, a 2-1 defeat for Manchester City to Borussia Dortmund. So Goncalo Villar has been on loan a lot of times. He's going to make a permanent move to Norwich for €6.5 million. Harrison Miles is going to move to Leeds United for €16.4 million. Obviously, a buyback is going to be in there for these players. And we're obviously going to look for two more young players again coming to the side. Matteo Palmer, we tried to sign previously in January. We're going to make another move for him. And we're looking for a long-term replacement for Rodri, someone who can be the new Rodri. And 21-year-old holding midfielder Nathan the Cat, to me, sticks out as that long-term Rodri replacement. A Belgian, so Vincent Kompany will like to bring him in, develop one of his national team people, and we get to sign him from Anderlecht, Vincent Kompany's former side, for €9 million. That's a really good deal for Nathan the Cat there. And there you are, Silton, and make his permanent move to Leeds United, €23 million, massive profit, and what we brought him in for, around €5 million. Floyd Samba to Villarreal, €24.5 million. There will be buybacks, including some of these. And Stefan Mifuni gets a permanent move away from the club to a Premier League side in Sunderland for €10 million. So Manchester City spending big, possibly in the market. We're bringing lots of money in. And you can see there is Villa and Villarreal interest in Omar El Hilali. But who do we bring in to be a more attacking quality right back. Well, Michael Coyote, former Brentford man, currently at Benfica, is an option. Hector Fort at Girona is an option. Wesley has made that move to PSG. Achimpong's an option as well. But the man who sticks out to me, a man that's been linked loosely with Manchester City, and someone I think 5 years into career mode might decide that he would be interested in a move back to the Premier League. It is former Liverpool man Trent Alexander-Arnold. Him coming back to the Premier League with Manchester City, I don't think he's so unrealistic. I think there is a possibility of that. And when we're talking about we want a right back who brings a lot more in forward areas, he certainly is that man. He can play wide, he can play inside. He's very, very technically gifted. Yes, he struggles defensively, but of course we've got Livramento. He's the more defensive, solid fullback. He's 30 years of age. He's coming towards the end of his time at Real Madrid. I think he's coming towards the end of his contract at Real Madrid. He hasn't been the most successful period there at Real Madrid, especially in this save as well. And I mean, he's not the quickest, he's not the most agile, but what do stands out, 91 stamina. The reactions are incredibly high. Composure, interceptions, and most importantly, what really let us down last season, I think, on that right-hand side, when you've got sort of Livramento or El Hilali getting forward, it's quality in the final third. So great vision for Trent. 93 crossing, which is another asset to our game we need. Wonderful long passing in the 90s, curve in the 90s as well. And you've got a player who's, I think, developed his defensive game over the years. A good standing tackle, good sliding tackle. And then he's also got this other level to his game, what we don't have from fullback areas, which is real quality in the final third. Now, Vini Jr at left back is more of a dribbler. He likes to take players on and work that way. Trent is a creator from fullback, and it just adds another element, attacking element, to this City side. As Vincent Kompany likes to develop his team to something else, I think his crossing into the box towards Haaland and someone else as well, runners from deep, could be absolutely amazing. So I'll look at Trent for the future. And into match day 2 in the pre-season tournament, a 1-1 draw against Saudi Pro League side. Goals from Del and Quinhos for them as well, but Del scoring for us, and he makes a move to Juventus for the season. 12-month loan, but we're looking to bring him back. Now, some big news coming from David Ornstein exclusive here, because Man City are exploring a move for Jude Bellingham of Real Madrid. We've just been talking about Trent. What about Jude? Manchester City met his camp this week. A latest target to be considered. He's unclear if the move develops due to a high Real Madrid asking price. However, the England international is thought to be keen on a move back to the Premier League. And the 26-year-old is actually expecting a move away from Spain this summer. So Jude has decided, I think Real Madrid perhaps have decided as well, that Jude's time at Real Madrid is over. 26 years of age now. The England international wants to come back to the Premier League, and there has been tentative talks and negotiations between Jude Bellingham's camp and Manchester City, and of course City sporting director Hugo Viana. Could we make this move happen? And could he be the man to sort of take this team to another level? We're not looking to make too many moves in the market, but there is rumours that Vinicius Jr leaves. Could we move Semenyo to that left-hand side, Foden and Shirky to the right, and then Jude and Foden in the midfield with Rodri? I think Bellingham is more than just an attacking midfielder. He's a box-to-box midfielder as well. And look at those stats for Jude Bellingham there. That is absolutely ridiculous. When you look at his stats, everything is in the green. Everything is in the higher rated. Great pace, wonderful shooting, wonderful passing, wonderful dribbling, good defending, and great physical as well. He's an absolute all-rounder. Now, he's worth around 197 million euros, they say. He's got a release clause of over 300 million euros. He's going to cost a lot of money. But with him wanting to move away from Real Madrid, with talk of his contract coming to the end, I think he's got 2 years left in his deal or so, we're expecting Real Madrid will accept something in the region of a Premier League record fee, pushing toward the 200 million euro mark, which I think would be a fair deal. I think they signed him for around 130 million euros. I think if they can sell him for 200 million euros, they'll be pretty happy with what they've got out of him. He can play as the half-winger, a playmaker, as a central attacking midfielder, but a more deeper role as central midfielder can play as a playmaker. I think he can actually excel in the box-to-box role as well, Jude Bellingham. He's got everything in his game. He's got a good age at 26. He's a player that I think City would want. Years ago, we wanted him. We couldn't get him. 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line since he's moved from Real Madrid, City would look back at him. I mean, look at that. Acceleration sprint speed is 91. Reactions 94. Vision 95. So he's a great passer of the ball. 94 stamina. Strength, jumping, balance, agility. All those mental and physical stats are in the high 80s, aren't they? even 90s. And that shows the quality of player we could be getting here. I feel like bringing him in to that midfield would transform us to something even more special. And then you can see his stats there. I mean, crossing isn't great. Defensive awareness, penalties, free kick accuracy and heading accuracy are the only ones sort of in the low 70s and just below. Everything else, once again, is in the upper 80s, in the upper 90s. He's a player that can transform our game. And we've had a great season with Elliot Anderson in the midfield. I thought he was one of our underrated players this season last year. Probably my underrated player of the season. Anderson was fantastic. But if there's an opportunity to bring in a 94 rated player, an England international who is maybe England's best player, I think there's an opportunity that a club of our stature, looking to achieve what we want to achieve, we can't turn down. And his play styles as well. He's got, you know, an engine, hasn't he, on him? Low driven shot. So much quality. Enforcer. First touch is brilliant. He's technically very gifted. Slide tackle. Inventive. Everything he does is of a high level. And I think Manchester City need to look at that and think, he's a player we've got to try and go for. And if we can bring him in, I'm going to try and bring him in this transfer window. I know there's concerns around his attitude, but if we lose Vinicius Jr, I feel like we can replace his quality with a different sort of quality, a bit more of a physical quality in that City side, and see where things go from there. And I think this is perhaps the new era for Vincent Kompany, a new sort of change. Whether we play two wide players, I'm not quite sure, in Semenyo and Shirky, or do we play everyone narrow? Do we play Foden, Rodri, and Jude as like a narrow midfield three with Shirky narrow, and then Haaland and Semenyo as the front two? I'm not quite sure. These are all things we'll think about. But yeah, Jude Bellingham, if we can make it happen, I think we've got to make it happen and bring his friend Trent with him. So a 3-3 draw on the final game of pre-season. Rodri Vinicius Jr scoring what could be his final goal for Manchester City after pre-season. He looks to move the club, and Sangare scoring as well. If you remember this news from last season, so El Ittihad, concrete interest in Vinicius Jr for Manchester City. They were interested in making a move in the summer. Obviously, Vincent Kompany very happy the winger, but rumours suggest unrest amongst the team around Vini Jr after Pep Guardiola's unexpected departure, and he missed out on the Ballon d'Or to teammate Erling Haaland. We had a fantastic season last year. Vini, probably one of our better players last year. However, he maybe wants a move away from Manchester City, and we can confirm there has been concrete interest from the Saudi Pro League, not just from El Ittihad, but from the other Saudi Pro League sides as well. El Hilali have been interested in him, El Hilal, and also Al Nassr as well. All four of the top four Saudi Pro League sides have made these moves to Vini from this previous news. Now, he's 29 years of age, and he's going to be offered close to €1 million per week if he was to move to Saudi Pro League. And Manchester City would receive a transfer fee of around €300 million. For a player we signed on a free transfer from Real Madrid. 2 fantastic years at the club. But Vinicius Jr has left Manchester City. He joins the Saudi Pro League and he leaves the club. And it is a big loss because he's been an absolutely unbelievable player for us. But €275 million, nearly €300 million brought in for Vini Jr there. At his peak, 29 years of age. And he's been offered a big deal at that team. A massive deal to go and play for the Saudi Pro League, and you can see that there because he's been offered $950,000 per week. That is a crazy amount of money that Vinicius Jr couldn't turn down, and we couldn't turn down €275 million either. We can reinvest in this side. So Divine Mikasa makes a permanent move away from the club, €64 million. He finally gets his permanent move, as does Riganeschi for nearly €60 million. As we move on, these players that have been out on loan so much and not yet played first team football. Michael Noonan moves to Stade Rennais, and there you can see Paris Saint-Germain have won the UEFA Super Cup at the start of the season, beating us, of course, embarrassingly in the Champions League final. Bad to lose Mikasa, but his time, he said, was time to go. And same for Christian McFarlane, €34 million. He moves to Leeds. We end the episode like that. Episode 2 coming up soon, or episode 3 with more transfers. Thanks for watching. Please like the video if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And we'll see you guys next time for some big transfers coming in. Vinny's left for big money. Mikasa's left for big money. What can we bring in?